Gaslighting at its most painful is when it denies you something you clearly remember. That never happened. You're imagining things again. Laura says, "You said that." And Mark, with a completely confident face, says, "No, that didn't happen. And you're starting to scare me." Scene 1. I was there too, but somehow he remembers it differently. Interior, living room, night. A conversation about the past. It would seem ordinary.
You called me crazy that night, in front of your friends. You remember that, right?
That never happened.
Mark, are you serious?
You've been doing this more and more, imagining things. Maybe you should write them down so you can track what's real and what's emotional.
I was there. I remember every word. But now I'm not even sure if I can trust my own memory.
What am I doing? I don't argue. I don't yell. I just reframe. When she brings up the past, I stay calm, unshaken, like I genuinely don't know what she's talking about. I say things like, "That's not how it happened. You're remembering it wrong. You always twist things when you're emotional." I plant the seed of doubt, and I water it with concern. You've been stressed lately. Maybe this is part of your anxiety. I think you're starting to lose touch with reality. I don't need her to forget. I just need her to question herself. Because once she starts wondering if her memory is unreliable, I win every argument without even having one. She'll stop bringing things up, stop defending herself, and eventually, she'll start asking me what really happened. That's when I know her past belongs to me now.
This will be the moment of complete loss of support. When you know you were there, but you start to doubt yourself. Where not only trust in the person collapses, but trust in yourself. This is where the real loss begins.
What I feel, I remember it. The way he looked at me, the exact words he said, where we were, even what I was wearing. But when I brought it up, he said it never happened. Not, "I don't remember." Not, "That's not how I saw it." He said, "You made that up. You're imagining things again." And in that moment, everything inside me collapsed. Because now it's not just the pain, it's the confusion, the spinning, the slow, sinking feeling that maybe I'm not okay. And that's the scariest part. Not that he lied, but that I almost believed him. That maybe I am the dramatic one. That maybe he's right, and I've been twisting everything. I feel like I'm disappearing, one memory at a time.
Now Laura will understand that memory loss is not just forgetfulness. It is the loss of a reference point on which your identity is built.
Why it works? Because memory is where we build our truth, our sense of self, our reality. And when someone tells you, again and again, "That never happened," you're remembering it wrong. You always do this. Something inside starts to bend. You start to question things that used to feel certain. Moments you lived through suddenly feel unstable, foggy, doubtful, and they stay calm while you spin. That's what makes it so effective. They don't need to prove anything. They just need to be more confident than you are. And when you don't trust your memory, you stop trusting your voice, your gut, your story. And that's when they can write it for you. Their version, their timeline, their logic. And you start to live inside it, like it's your own. What should have been done? I should have written it down, not for him, for me. The moments, the words, the way I felt when he said them. Not because I needed to prove it, but because I needed to remember that it happened. I should have stopped asking him to validate my memories. Stopped hoping he'd say, "You're right, I did do that." He never would. Because people who rewrite your past aren't confused. They're in control. If I could go back, I'd look myself in the mirror and say firmly, "You don't need permission to trust what you lived." You don't need a second opinion on your pain. You were there. That's enough. My truth didn't disappear. I just stopped defending it. And next time, I won't. That never happened. You're being dramatic. You imagined it. And for a second, I almost believed him. Almost erased myself to keep the peace. But then, a single memory came back. Clear, unshakable, undeniably mine. And I whispered, more to myself than to anyone else, it did happen. I remember, and I don't need him to agree. Because this time, I choose my reality over his comfort. And that's how I start to heal. Not by forgetting, but by refusing to be erased.